And welcome to another edition of the award-winning Get in the Herd podcast, brought to you by the McShin Recovery Resource Foundation here in Richmond, Virginia. Today we have as special guests two people from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, all the way down here to tell us, to show us what's going on in Pennsylvania, but to also see what we're doing down here in Richmond. Welcome to the studio to Helen Wooten and to Jose Lugo.
Correct.
I was gonna mispronounce that. I wasn't sure. So, welcome today. You guys are with Recovery. What is it? Recovery Coaching Services.
Correct.
In Berks County, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I am originally from. I didn't tell you this earlier. I'm originally from South Jersey, outside of Philadelphia. So I spent a little bit of time in my misguided youth, palling around the suburbs of Pennsylvania, suburbs of Philadelphia, out there doing stupid stuff, you know. Welcome to the show. What brings you here today?
Well, we are. I did had a training through NADAC, and there was John and Honesty there, and there was. Having a conversation about recovery coaching services, and I was very interested and impressed by the work that you guys was doing over here. And I just sent her an email. I said, "Listen, how about we just stop by and and see how you guys doing and share some experience?" And she said, "Come on down." That's what she actually said. I said, "That's what we're here for."
That's honesty. Yeah, that sounds about right. For those who might not know, what is because I can't think of what it is, the acronym. What is NADAC?
NADAC is the National Addiction. I don't have all the words, but what they do is that they are the National Association for Addiction Professionals.
Yeah,
simply in a nutshell.
That connection with us down here in Richmond, with you all in Pennsylvania, is why these national groups are so important, both federally funded and also the nonprofit world. Such as Favor or the Recovery Advocacy Project. So that's really amazing that you were able to make those connections. So Helen, you had some trepidation about being on the show today. I feel it's best to just pull the Band-Aid off and say, welcome. What are you doing here?
So again, I'm like Jose. I am an individual who's interested in finding out, what's going on out in our community and outside of the community. And Jose kind of came across your guys' website, and he said, "Hey, we need to go down to Virginia because it seems like these guys have been able to kind of put a beautiful program together." And like Jose was talking about, us being recovery coaching services, we're in the early stages. Doing it for quite some time, but looking to expand. So again, we wanted to learn from the best.
Excellent. So where, what is it that you guys do? I know we talked a lot about this earlier, but what do you guys?
Peer-to-peer support services for those individuals with suffering from a substance use disorder and their families. So it is, this is only in the individual, but the whole family, the whole community. I always say that when I recovered, so did my wife, my kids, my neighbor. You don't have to be watching when next time I'm going to rob something from me, right? So anybody does recover, even though they don't use, but they do suffer from the impact of addiction. So that's what we do.
Well, the authentic peer-to-peer recovery movement and the model that we here at McShin use is so important to involve the family here, and we've done that by creating space for family recovery. We have a family night Wednesday after this evening. Tonight's Wednesday. Tonight after the community meeting we have at 6. There is a group that used to meet in the room next to us. They're still meeting on Zoom. That family members of individuals here, participants meet. There's also, it's called, it's like Al-Anon. It's a similar thing to an Al-Anon. 12-step based family and I think it might be family and no, I think it's NAR. Well, anyway,
yeah.
Well, they have meetings here as well, and we do have for for other support, we've got a grief group here that meets on Tuesday evenings for family members and individuals, have lost individuals to this disease. So it's very, very important to bring the family in. So, and I love, Helen, we were talking earlier about your connection, and you are, if I may, a family member who's been affected. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
So I've had numerous family members, unfortunately, that have been afflicted with the disease of addiction. And one of the things I mentioned to you, Nate, is sometimes as a family member, the question is, am I enabling the individual, right? Because people love to throw that word around. I don't like to believe that I'm enabling someone. I like to believe that's a family member and I want to help them. So if that means I'm going to drive them to get a dime bag so that they don't get sick, I'm going to do that. Ooh. Right? Instead of them going out, even if I have to give them the money, right? Because we also have that criminal justice system out there. They'd be more than happy to lock someone up instead of giving them treatment.
What comes to mind to you, Jose, when you hear what Helen is saying?
It's something different, and it's support. A person suffering from a substance use disorder is really suffering. It's always conflicted. I want to stay clean, but I can't stop. How many times I'm fighting with myself? I'm in my car and I'm driving towards the dealer, and I can't. And the car is like in cruise control. I can't stop it, and I'm debating in my brain. I know it's not right, but I can't stop it. And when you have a person, a family member that I know my family give me some tough love. If you need to get clean, here we are. And I spent many years in jail because that was the only rehab. Many times I was doing so well. I had a job, I had my own business, and I was in probation and parole. And then I got a dirty urine, and I ended up in jail for 9 months. The high only lasted 4 to 5 hours. I was there for 9 months, and then I had to come back and start all over again. Ooh. And I was so pissed off. I'm like, oh my God, and it's hard, man. It's hard to start all over again. And that's why I believe in treatment. I believe in the work that you guys doing here, and especially the peer-to-peer support, because once the individual comes and talk to a peer, he don't see himself as a patient. We could talk the same jargon, and we could. There's a lot of walls that comes down when you talk about a peer-to-peer support.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that what you said, those walls that come down. The great thing about, like, I know you have 12 individuals who are peer recovery coaches. Correct. With you. Yeah. That's here at McShin. We have more. I know we have a bunch of different people who coach, and we all have, we all have the disease of addiction. We all have that substance use disorder background, and we all have recovery, on the rise. But we all have a slightly different story, so we're all going to be able to relate differently to different people. So I might not be able to carry the message of hope to the next sick and suffering individual, but somebody here will be able to carry that message and connect with that person. And it's just so important to, for me to realize, hey, I'm not going to connect with everybody, and that's okay, because there are other people. And B, it's so important that we bring in more voices, more people with different lived experience to relate to individuals. So, yeah, I love that. So you were telling me earlier that you are bilingual.
Correct.
And I'm assuming Spanish and English.
Hablo español y inglés.
Okay. Well, that's not. I lived in D.C. for a long time, so people bilingual could be a lot of different things, and so that's incredibly valuable. Yeah. That's a resource we haven't developed here yet. So I appreciate the thought and keeping that back in my head. Yeah. I studied German. Doesn't do me any good.
Well, if you move to Germany, probably you would do.
Ja, wir sollen alles auf Deutsch sprechen. So, aber ich. So.
Wunderbar.
Exactly. Yeah. So you all. This is a total side note, but you saw that I have the one little, Alexa in there. I actually have 3 in there, and one of them is just to answer questions two of them I have set for music because stereo sound.
Yeah.
One of them responds back, and I can only talk to it and respond back in German. I don't talk to it much. So anyway, hey, Robert, good to see you up there. So, Robert, you'll be interested. So we've got people here from Pennsylvania, so the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania here. So we were talking earlier. Robert is a longtime listener and a supporter, and he's very involved with the Recovery Advocacy Project. So, and Robert knows a lot about our community services boards down here in Virginia, which is sort of the backbone, I would say, of the developmental. Department of Developmental and Behavioral Health here in Virginia, sort of as far as the government response. So Robert's been a big part of that, and has been able to help me and to help John Schenholzer to navigate through the Byzantine, labyrinthine information that there is about the. I'm not going to sit here and blast on the CSBs, not right now. But anyway, so you guys coming down here. How well integrated are you with the government, the criminal justice system? You know, we talked about warm handoffs earlier. And so tell me a little bit how that works for you all in Pennsylvania, or at least in Berks County, because that's something that we need more of here in Virginia.
Yeah, we have partnerships where we have right now a partnership with the county probation, county parole, state parole, halfway houses. And what they do is that those individuals that's coming out, and when they see there's a substance use disorder concern or questions, they call us. And we we bring the individual in, we talk to them, we make a need assessment, and it just providing good service. That's the bottom line. We have gained that respect in the community because of the service we provide. And in the majority of that, marketing is coming from the individuals we serve themselves. They say, listen, I need you to call. I need to get in contact with Recovery Coaching Services. I got people calling or sending me mail from jail. I said, Jose, I need to get in contact with you guys as soon as they want. Because the majority of people that suffer from substance use, they want to do well. I never remember an individual, Nathan, that said to me, and I got over 39 years of experience, a lived experience and education experience. They said, Jose, my life improved the day I started using drugs. Never. I heard that. Every time I hear it say, oh, Jose, I was doing so well. I had my job. I had my family. I had the car. I was happy. I had a good night's sleep. I started using only one time on Friday. Oh my God. It was Friday. Everything would line up for me. And listen, I lost everything. Those are the stories that I hear every day. Yeah. I don't hear those success stories of people using and a success. No, and that's why we do what we do, because we've been there.
So let me add this in terms of the warm handoff program. Yeah. So what basically would happen is someone would show up at our local emergency room, which is Tower Health. It could be someone coming in because of an OD. It could be someone who just wakes up one day and says, hey, listen, I want to stop using substances. So the person goes into the emergency room. They're assessed. Maybe do an ASAM evaluation if they need detox, if they need inpatient. Maybe they'll say, hey, listen, you're going to revive me, but I don't want anything else to do with this. I'm going to go back out and I'm going to go ahead and continue to use. So the warm handoff program is there, not to judge, but to assist. They do meet with a recovery coach person, so someone, a peer in recovery. And again, they try to navigate those systems for the individual. The other interesting thing that's happening in the great state of Pennsylvania, my great state of Pennsylvania, is we're finally at the point in Berks County where if an individual feels that they need treatment, they can go into one of the local police departments, right? So at this point, we're really getting away from the mindset of just locking people up with an addiction issue. So the individual can go in and say to someone on the police force, hey, listen, I need help. So the goal is going to be to get that individual some help. So we've been able to help, get services into the emergency rooms, and also now with the local police department.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So what seems to be like, let's say I call you up, one of you, I call you up and I say, hey, I need some help. What is the path forward for that? How do you assess my needs, and what do you do with me? Let's say I'm coming out of jail. What resources do you all have available to you? I know that you do the coaching, but what resources do you have, like housing is such a big issue, and of course that's a big primary thing of what we do here with McShin. But what do you guys do with that in a situation like that?
Okay, let me give you an example. So one individual came the other day, and he came from from prison, and they called us. And when I sat with him, he said, "I need to start over again." And I said, "Well, okay, what do you mean by that?" "Okay, I don't have no ID." Okay, so we got him.
Huge, a lot of people from that.
Yeah. So we have an agency B cap there. They say, "Okay, Jose, come over and pick up the check." So we got the funds for that particular need that he needed. He got the ID within 7 days. And then the next thing, he needed transportation. We went to another agency, and they gave him a 30-day pass. All those basic
for
needs.
Buses.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then now we working with him for housing. Another lady came in from Puerto Rico with a substance use disorder, 3 kids, and the mother. And the mother was suffering from dementia. So anyway, we was working with her. We stabilized her first because she was using. So she stabilized her. She started working. She started getting the services, and then she's moving to her own apartment with a 3-bedroom apartment with her 3 kids and her mother in the beginning of the month.
Wow.
Wow. So the services are there. Well, in PA, the services are there, and sometimes it takes time. It's not just gonna light up. The individual really needs to play his part or her part in it. So it just creating that hope that you was talking about.
Yeah.
Create that hope. Listen, it's possible. It's gonna be hard. Yeah. But those things that come hard, we tend to value more rather than things that are easy. Easy come, easy go.
Yeah.
That's how we easy. That's how we do it. We say.
And I learned in recovery that I have a self-esteem issue. And I have this big hole of self-esteem, no self-esteem, right? And the way for me to fix that is to do esteemable acts, and sometimes those esteemable acts are taking care of those little steps. They're taking care of my driver's license. That was something I had to take care of. And to do that, there were like 4 steps. To do that, and it was like I had to go on the DMV site, and DMV sites are probably the same all over the country. They're just like this of information. They're not meant to really be all that helpful, and or to get to the DMV. I didn't have a ride, so. All these little steps, and it's like, but once those things happen and they get done, it's like that sense of accomplishment that I can be, and I can talk about that with somebody else in recovery and be like, cool, and feel good. But if I were to talk about that with like some people who don't quite understand what I've gone through, it's like, well, duh, you dumbass, well, you didn't, how do you not know how to do that? It's like, well, because I've spent the last 25 years of my life destroying my brain, But then I have to get into a whole other conversation. So it's so vital to have allies and peers who know and can understand without that judgment, without that space. And I really admire people who can put together what resources you have to just cobble together something, and to be able to know and navigate. So, going back though, I like this warm handoff, right? It's something that we here at McShin, we do a lot with, we do a lot of work with reentry.
Okay.
And individuals, we've had, currently we don't have anything operational because of COVID, but we have jail programs. We have programs in jails here in the Commonwealth, and some of them, and we've been able to connect with individuals. I came through a jail program, and we've been able to connect with individuals and bring them here. That handoff becomes, we still have a jail program up north that is not actually kind of pseudo happening, but we still have people coming from there. And so what we can do then, we have a guy who drives up there sometimes twice a week, 3 times a week, and he's pulling those participants from that jail. So it's that connection, that bed to bed service, right? I think those things are so important because otherwise, me, when I got out of jail, I didn't have somebody to pick me up. The person who was picking me up was the same guy who called the cops on me months before, who I was getting high with. So I wasn't exactly thinking correctly. And I was able to, I got picked up, but I had, just before he picked me up, I had met with the office of the McShin office, which was across the street, and I had never been there before because I'd been in the jail across the street. And I'd met some of the new people there, people I didn't know there, and then some of the people who'd been coming in the jail. And I kept that hope, right? That hope that we talk about. I kept that little spark. I got in the car, and I had drugs offered to me in the parking lot of the jail. Now, that would have been a second violation for me, and in Virginia, that would have been 6 to 9 months, and I probably would have gone to 9 months because the judge did not like me. I was a mouthy little SOB. I was able to just because of the few days of recovery I had in jail in that program at McShin, and it's kind of like, I don't really want to do this anymore. And I was able to get out of the car and just go back to the McShin office and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, help me. And that's what they did. They held on to me until I could come, with the hour and a half south to Richmond. That's so vital. And the woman who ran that, she's a woman, she's a family member of a person in recovery. And she and I still talk every once in a while. I love Chris. So, I know I'm rambling, but what I'm getting to say is I really admire what you're doing and what you're here to do as well. So tell me more. Tell me more about what you want to do, how you want to grow, what more services do you want to offer? How do you get the funding for that stuff?
Let me say, though, in the prison, in prison and in jails in our area, they are offering Vivitrol and Suboxone within those, confined areas in prisons and again, in jails. And then they're doing the coordination. They're reaching out to organizations so that the person's treatment does not lapse. So they're also doing those warm handoffs to other organizations. So like Jose said, the individual just has to show up. So I think that's important.
Yeah. And those individuals, especially those individuals coming out of the institutions, it is our experience anyway, it's easier to stay clean to get clean. So if the individual is already clean, it's just finding that pathway. Just finding that work, that community, that it will foster that recovery. But because, again, it's more cost effective. Once the individual is started using, how hard it is to get that person to clean. Right. Because not only does he go down, sometimes you see the whole family suffering. The kids, the mother, the neighbor, everybody, the criminal justice system, Walmart, because
it was Home Depot for me.
Yeah, you get the point, right? So everybody get affected. But again, it's easier to stay clean than to get clean. But again, it's not done, by himself.
Yeah.
Just having that support in the beginning takes a long way. We had one individual that homeless. He went to detox, rehab. We work with him every day. And he'd say he started working, saving. No, I want to bring my wife and my 2 daughters. And I'm like, wow. And then after like 9 months, he bought them the ticket. Okay. But I said, he had no place to live. And I was like, wow, you talk about burning the boat, right? You want to take the island, burn the boat, right? So this guy, he said, no, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to bring those to, and that was his mindset. Mm-hmm. But he was only able to do that when he was clean and sober. So with the support, he was able to find the apartment, bring that family over. And I could tell you, the quality of life for those 2 kids here in the United States is a lot better than in Puerto Rico. Yeah. So not only did he change his life, but those preceding him, these kids. So, it's amazing, when you see that. And that's what we do, the work we do. Yeah. Because, again, it's the whole community and family concept.
It's so important that we celebrate those success stories.
Yeah.
We've got questions up here. Robert again up there asking about Perry, and he's also, we can talk about that, but I'm not as Robert. I'm not as fluent on this as I know you are. But the second question he asks: Can programs like yours replace drug courts? Well, first of all, do you have drug courts in Pennsylvania?
Oh yeah.
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 But do you have? I'm sensing you have opinions on drug courts. So talk to me. How does that work in Pennsylvania?
We work with them.
You work with them.
Yeah.
Yep.
We take individuals right there to the judge. And I tell the guys, listen, I cannot lie for you. Help me help you. Help me, man. Give me something so when I go in front of that judge, and that brings a different perspective. I'm serving you. I'm providing your service. So help me. I can't go over there and say your urine is clean when it's not.
Right.
Help me. And that type of interaction when I go over there, because listen, I've been plenty times to court, and the judge already knew when I was lying because they say you're gonna say something, So when we go with the individuals we serve from that peer perspective, encourage them. So we work with the courts, with the drug courts, very closely.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, the majority of them are mandated to have a peer support service.
Correct.
Okay.
It's part of the program of drug court.
Okay.
You just get no drug court and see, no. They have all these services. They have a table of different people there involved, and then one is recovery coaching services as a peer. And I say, okay, that individual needs that type of service. And they take it from there. So that's what we do, and we go there and advocate, and and we keep it real with the judge and with themselves. But it's about accountability.
Yeah.
And I think with the treatment courts too, because we have DUI treatment court and drug court, the judges and the team, because it's actually a team approach, like Jose was saying, there is a peer that's on the panel, right? You have a therapist, there are physicians on the panel along with the judge. But again, they want to hear from that individual. A peer,
on
correct.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you hear that, Virginia? A peer, a person in recovery on the panel. Okay.
And again, we want to hear from that individual. We want to know, okay, how can we best help you? And I was working with an individual once, and he was very irate with his PO. So I said to the person, I said, you want to let the judge know what this person is saying to you in authority, right? And then come up with a solution, because he was very, very angry. And this gentleman has been clean and sober for about 1.5 years now. He's doing great. He had a lot of trauma. He's very untrusting of the systems and of people. So again, we were able to break that barrier down for him. And he's like, I don't think anyone will want to hear from me. No, they're going to want to hear from you. And then again, me being that backup support, right? Because we want to know. We want to be able to help you. We all have the same goal at the end of the day, is to kind of how we can keep you alive, keep you clean and sober. And that was his goal as well, right? So again, and the judge heard him out, and he ended up getting a whole new PO. So again, he's been sober for over 1.5 years now.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's trusting the system is difficult. I mean, I have some difficulty with that personally, and I know that a lot of our individuals do. But you're right. Like the identifying the problem, identifying the solution, and then putting that solution into action. And so often so often I want to get stuck in the problem and just sit there in the problem. I just want to sit in the problem. And when I talk to my coachees, or I talk to individuals I might go to court for, it's like, all right, what is the solution? And let's get into that solution. And I really love it when people talk to me that way when I'm stuck in the problem, because I need that reminder too. That's that accountability piece, that authentic peer-to-peer. So
one last thing I want to say about the drug court, because in probation and parole, because one individual was telling me, talking to me, like we have 2 contracts with the city. One is the JPO, juvenile probation, and CYF, children and youth services. And when those individuals, when the court system get involved because of substance use disorders, so I let them know. I said, listen, they're here to serve you. They're not, and the whole mindset starts changing. You say, what? That court system is here to serve you. To serve your needs. Take advantage of those services. CYS provided child care for the person. When she started changing the story, you change the story, you change your life. When they start changing the story, that's how my life changed when I started changing my story. The story is that conversation that I was telling myself. They're not going to give me a job. I got 26 felonies. There's no way I'm going to work in a hospital. And the only place that are not allowing me to work in a hospital is in a pharmacy. And I'm okay. I could live with that, But any place else, they say, no, Jose, you are the product that we want to sell. That you could recover. We also could give you opportunities. So my point is that when you change the story, then they're going to court. They're here to serve you. They're here to give you the service that you need to live a better quality of life. So when they start changing that conversation, okay, so I need help with this, but they're going to meet you halfway. You got to put in the work.
Yeah.
You got to advocate yourself. And that's the type of system they're going to help you stay focused. They're not trying to put you in jail. And to me, a court system or a parole officer that puts you in jail, he failed. He failed that individual,
Okay.
because he didn't do a good job. That's how I'm going to look at it, So and I told him, listen, work with that. Parole officer has a lot of resources, more resources than probably we have, The court system does have a lot more resources for you too. But the thing is, they want to have a good investment. If I invest in this individuals, what's going to be the results? If he's going to have a good return to a service, but it just helping that individual change the story or their mindset with probation and parole or drug court or the court system. Change the story, change your life.
They're here to serve you. I never thought of it that way. I really like that. I like, because you're right. Yeah, I mean, I see that. Yeah. This is awesome. So this is the value right here of the people interacting, from different locations and sort of seeing what's working here, what's not working here. So how big is Berks County? How many people do you work with on a regular basis?
Well, I just
It's a tough question, right?
Well, we have 149 right now individuals we serve. That's how you guys call them participant. We call them individuals. We call them by the name.
I like that.
We call them by the name. There's not, we call you by the name. We have 4 new referrals today. And just people walk in. Monday, I came to Monday, and there were 2 people. 2 individuals there, one with the family, with the bags ready to go to rehab, and it was 8:00 in the morning on Monday, So and then I'm the only one in the office, right? I'm like, okay, bring it, bring it. I did my exercise, I got my smoothie, let's go. So, but that's the way it is.
Self-care.
Self-care is the number one, guys. So anyway, that's and we don't close even through like you guys here to the pandemic last year. We had an open door. Yeah. We opened door. You can't close the door on recovery. No, not at all. No, we can't. No, these guys were suffering. No, we could come in. Yes. We did follow all the CDC guidelines. We all vaccinating. I got the N95 mask and watch that. We do all that, and we kept a physical distance, but we still be able to keep a social connection.
Right. And
the wording got lost too in the beginning, and it was hard to come back when they say, "Oh, social distance." Wow. No, if everyone suffering from a substance use disorder, that connection with that type of network, with the sober network, is what keeps all of us clean and sober.
Yeah.
I think the other thing, Jose, just to add to what you were saying, is the importance of doing away with the silos and everyone working on the same team. So although Jose can't offer a detox or inpatient facility, he knew who to call.
Yeah.
Right. So he
Right.
knew who do I need to get on the phone with for individual that may need a bus pass. You guys also talked earlier about needing the license and the ID. So when you think of, at least in our state, in order for you to get a license, you need to have your Social Security card and or your birth certificate. A lot of times those things kind of get lost in it, right?
Yeah.
So again, we put barriers up in front of individuals that are already struggling.
Yeah.
And in order for you to have a job, guess what? I need a valid ID.
Right.
Yeah. So again, it's about all of us working collectively as a group of individuals with this, and we all have the same outcome again, or the same goal, with the hope of the same outcome. All right. So again, it's important to know who's in your backyard, who's in your community, how you guys can partner up. I've been doing this type of work for over 20 years. And I remember when we would go into a room, it would be like, hey, we can't tell them about what we're doing because they may go after the grant that we're trying to go after as well. So we had a bunch of that stuff kind of going on. So again, it's important that, we got one client or one individual that needs help, and how can we best help them? And let's put our resources together. So that's something that we're doing in Berks County.
Yeah. That's being in this field, and just a little bit of time now, and getting to know the people I've gotten to know, who've been in for 20 some odd years, who've been in for of course John for since I think since Methuselah was born. I know, right? Pull out a Bible reference there today. But to be in this space and to see what's happening now, and I love what you said about breaking down silos, because that we get that here too, of course. But to seeing what's happening and seeing the compassion, the love, and the desire to just, are we still live?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry for those of you watching, we cut out there for a second. But to see what's going on, man, it's inspiring. It really is. I know what gave me hope, right? I know that it wasn't, giant, meals or expensive this or that. It was, for me, it was an individual just showing up and saying every day and saying hello, and there was somebody in the we called them little blocks, we're in the jail where I was, there was somebody in that block who was another McShin participant there, who saw that I needed socks. It was cold and I didn't have socks, and he gave me socks, and I didn't like anything about myself at that moment, and I certainly didn't like myself enough to take care of my feet. Instead, I spent the $40 I had on my books on coffee and sweets, and he gave me socks, and he gave me that. He was the little bit of hope that initially for me, and I talk about that. I tell that story a little more elaborately, but the point is that he started that journey for me, And that's all it took. And then this guy, who kept coming and showing up every day, and I didn't agree with his politics. I didn't agree with his views on this or that or the other, but he actually kept showing up, and regardless, we openly talked about not agreeing on a lot of things, but he was there, and he had compassion for me, and I had compassion for him. I still talk to this guy, not regularly, but every once in a while, and so I don't need fancy clothes or fancy food or fancy cars or this or that. I just need a little bit of hope, that love, that compassion, and that's what we can do in spades, right? And then we start to fight over grants and SOAR money and CSBs and it gets really messy and ugly and just annoying and frustrating. But when it comes right back down into it, I just want to be there to help the next sick and suffering individual who walks through the door. I love that you refer to everybody by names. We have, at any time, we have usually about 130 participants, and everybody's in a house, so we usually talk about the participants at New York House and the participants there, and so I get used to that word. I'm glad we don't use the word clients. That's just sick to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else going on? I'm looking out there thinking it might start storming again right now. What do you have going on for the rest of the day? What did you guys got here last night, right?
Yeah.
What did you do in Richmond last night?
We came in late. Yeah, I was working. I worked till like 3 o'clock. So I just had everything packed, and then we head up here and we went to dinner. Nice restaurant, by the way.
Where'd you go?
I went to La Gloria, I think it is, over there across from the hotel we was staying.
Today's episode of Getting Heard brought to you by La Gloria.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it's beautiful. It was a beautiful day too today.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, today. Yeah. What did you do this morning? You guys got here?
I've been here since 9:30.
Ooh. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I walked in around 10 and saw you guys right off the bat. Yeah. How long are you here for? Till about 3, as soon as the show's over.
No, well, we got an appointment with John.
Oh, good. Okay.
Good old John.
The legend.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons. When I heard him talk, and I'm like, okay, I keep it real. He didn't hold up or anything. Through NADAC, he was cussing and everything. He was like, okay. And then I went to, to the website, and I see all the services you guys providing here, all the meetings throughout the day, 24, even Sundays, and I'm like, wow, wait a minute. And I always like to learn. I always like to interact, network with other people. And again, I send the email, and you guys come on down. That's when honesty say, Jose, come on down. So I set it up, and I say, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah. John is John. John is John. Yeah. There's no pretense to John. There's no other person. You get John is John, and and honesty is honesty. And Jesse is Jesse, and that is so freeing to come to work and have that. Yeah. It's so freeing to be able to come to work and to trust. And the people around me are doing the things that I believe in too. It's like my belief system started because I learned from these guys. I'm learning from these guys, and now I have something to contribute as well. And so I love that. It's an amazing thing to do. And it's.
I think I was going to say everyone that we met so far today is very authentic. Their authentic self. Which I think is important, right? Because, again, when someone's looking for help, I don't want you to tell me what you think I want to hear, right? I kind of want you to give it to me straight. Talk to me. How did you do this? What do I need to do differently? So I don't like to be spoken to. I like to kind of be in part of the conversation. So I think that's what I got from your staff here. Everyone's very committed, mission driven. So kudos to you guys, because I don't think we find that all the time, at least not back home.
Nothing about us without us, right? Yeah. As a person in recovery, as an addict, as somebody who used substances to alter my brain, I got pretty accustomed to finding the BS in people and calling people, so I can only be me. If I try to be something else, somebody's going to see through that. Absolutely, And I could be a pretentious little jerk sometimes. I'm certainly, I have my
I find that hard to believe, Nathan.
When I have opera blasting out of my office sometimes, but I am me, and I'm only me, and so as my recovery progresses, I'm able to be a better service and greater service to the individuals I work for, I service, but also to myself and my family. I have relationships with my sister, who just moved to Richmond, and my niece and my nephews and my brother-in-law, and I get to do these things today. I get to come to work in the morning. I get to, I was a little late this morning because I took my car to get washed this morning, and it's okay, it's an okay thing today. It's like I'm not stressing about trying to get the, meet the guy to get the thing to do this, or I'm trying to haggle for $20 over here or 40, whatever it is. It's like, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go get my car washed. I'm going to go run over here. I might go, I told Justin, I said, if you get here now, there's food. Otherwise, I would have picked you up, at 1 o'clock like I normally do. But, my day is like, okay, cool. And I get to meet with people, who were at that point where I was just not too long ago, and share, what, let's sit back, let's come with me. Let me get my car washed, and well, around here we don't run errands around here. We do recovery coach sessions with participants in the car. But actually, as I joke about that, it's a very bonding experience. I mean, like for me, like, just going and doing those things, like going to the grocery store, going, things that I just didn't do, when I was using, or I didn't do honestly when I was using, to be able to do that with somebody is pretty awesome. It's like, hey, come on, I got to go to the dry cleaners and here and here and here. Come run with me, get in the car.
Right.
Plus, we have phenomenal groups and we have wonderful coaches who come in and do these amazing facilitators who do these great groups. It gets pretty boring after a little while, sitting in these groups all day. So getting people out and running stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, now that I have my license, I can go use it. Gwen, I love you, and she's one of our longtime listeners up there. She knows I will fight for the Oxford comma every single time. If you don't know what the Oxford comma is, look it up. It'll be helpful to you in the future. We're running about 45 minutes right now, guys. I think it's a good time to land this plane, but do you have anything else you want to share?
There was only one other thing that kind of came to mind for me. I'll take over as the host, Nathan, if you don't mind.
Take over.
I think one of the things that we didn't talk about in terms of the landscape and just how it's changed so much in the past 20 years is how we're accepting of different pathways to recovery.
Okay.
I think that is so key. And I, too, go to a lot of trainings and do a lot of public engagement, speaking, and just kind of out there. And it's so for the last 20 years, I've seen that pendulum shift. Like people are a lot more open to MAT services. People are also open to the whole abstinent-based piece. So there's something to be said. So I think, the individuals that are working with individuals that are struggling, again, accepting people at where they're at. Recovery is a process, right? Usually they don't land it the first time. They don't get it right the first time. And that's okay, right? Because again, it's a process, it's a journey. And how I like to look at my organization is, we are a stop on your journey. Some people may get it right with us. Some people go and then they come back, and that's okay. So again, I think just being mindful of the different modalities that individuals can utilize today.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's something that, while we're working against the stigma of addiction and even within our own recovery community, we struggle with the different modalities, the different pathways of recovery, and what does recovery mean? And, there's literature that says, recovery is what an individual says recovery is. And embracing that can be a challenge, to some people. I get pushed back on some things. We talked about legalizing cannabis earlier, and I saw the reaction in your face, and we talked about why I think that's a good idea, not because I want to go use it, and whether you support what I said or not. It's like, I'm not here to sit here and tell you let's go smoke weed. No, I'm not going to do that, and I'm not even going to suggest that it's a good idea for anybody. But we can have differences of opinions, and still be on the same journey and mission together. We can still be working towards helping people. That's the cool thing, right? You're right. I love that. Of course, we're constrained by working with the legal system. Your organization, our organization, we rely heavily on the work that we do within the criminal justice system. So we are by necessity I say abstinence-based, but we also have MAT. So, depending on how you consider that, and that's not an argument I'm going to have, but the reality is, we can't support some recovery pathways simply because of what we do, which isn't to say we don't believe it. We just don't, we can't support it here at McShin. But anyway, long story short, is there anything else you want to add to this before we say goodbye?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for allowing us to come here. It's a great experience, and you guys so kindly allowing us. Again, this is what breaking the silos is all about.
Yeah.
This is a good example of that. You guys said, come on down,
Come on down. Get on the show. Get in here.
Come on down, and sharing. And I think,
yes, thank you for that.
Sorry, Helen, but you did great, both of you. Thank you.
Because the bottom line is the services we provide the individuals we serve, And unfortunately, when you create those silos, the people that really get affected are those people that we serve.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line.
Yeah,
you might say, that's what we did here for, to hopefully provide a better enlightening to a better quality of life. network with them. But when they create these silos and within your own community, sometimes with your own agency, it does create, it hinders the service. That's the bottom line. It just really hinders the service. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Well, thank Jose and Helen. Thank you so much for coming all the way down from Pennsylvania, from Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yep. I think of Reading Railroad.
Yep.
I grew up in South Jersey near Atlantic City. So, welcome and thank you for being here today. Justin, thank you for being our amazing and helpful, wonderful producer. And I'll land the plane and say goodbye to all you fine folk out there. We'll see you tomorrow at 2:00.
My name is Shannon Lance. I'm currently here in recovery at McShin Foundation. I got out of jail on January 10th, 2021, and while I was incarcerated there, my mother passed away due to COVID complications on December 14th. It was a really challenging event in my life. While I was incarcerated there, I watched the recovery videos and the podcast on the tablets there, that was made by the McShin Foundation. Getting the Heard podcast really made me feel like I was a part of something on the outside, because there's people that are commenting and just seeing people that I was incarcerated with on the videos, and just thinking, man, that's going to be me before too long. And I'm going to be sitting there in them rooms and be able to be a part of the podcast and get in the Heard series. And now I'm a part of the Heard here at McShin, and it's an amazing feeling, and it's nice having a fulfilled sense of hope in my life currently, and just to live one day at a time, and just to have positive feelings in my life and good relationships with my family and friends is an amazing event.